So it's good that you've considered what your ideal classroom should look like, what you want it to look like, what you want it to be at some point, someday, if it's not already there. We want you to keep that in mind as you continue to think about the flipped classroom and flipped learning and how it can relate to you and your students. So let's think about your ideal classroom as we move forward. We should think about the obstacles that could get in the way of the ideal classroom. If you want more discussion, if you want more conversation, if you want more critical thinking, if you want more student choice and student voice, if you want more authentic learning happening in your classroom, if you want more projects, more project-based learning, more problem solving, if you want more of this kind of activity, there may be some things holding you back. Maybe the obstacles are the same things that you fear and that are holding you back. Maybe it's the other people in your building. Maybe it's the support from administrators or parents, or maybe it's the complete change of the mindset for yourself or even for your students. This is something that might be new for them, where instead of sitting in the audience every day, they are participating. Now they're up on stage. Now they are doing the creating and they're doing the heavy lifting, as we call it. So consider these obstacles that might be out there as you think about what you want your ideal class to look like. And then we should consider those obstacles to your ideal classroom, whether real or perceived, how they could be overcome, what obstacles are there that could be overcome by using a flipped class. So now that we've considered the ideal classroom that you want for you and your students, and we've considered some of the obstacles, whether real or perceived, we can consider whether or not flipped class could resolve some of those obstacles for you. And part of the conversation has to be about how we define what flipped class is. So let's talk about definitions. So what is the flipped classroom? How do we define it? A lot of these definitions showed up in the videos that you watched. But let's talk about what the flipped classroom is. Most would say that the flipped classroom starts with the best use of face-to-face time. Whenever we're designing something, we have to consider what is the educational professional needed most for. The way I say it to my students is, I don't want you alone at home, banging your head on the desk trying to figure this stuff out. I want you to come to class and try to figure it out and bang your head on the desk here so we can figure it out together. Cheryl Morris, a colleague of ours, says it a different way. She says, I don't want my students doing the toughest thing in my class alone outside of my class. She wants to be there to help and guide them through it. That makes a lot of sense. The other thing you should think about with the best use of face-to-face time is, what do we need to do in the group time? What do we need to do together that we can't do alone? That means conversations and discussions and activities of sorts. We define the flipped classroom as something that fosters in-class, critical, deep, authentic thinking. Maybe that shows up in project-based learning. Maybe that shows up in conversations and Socratic seminars. Maybe it is about solving problems. Maybe it's about just talking about content and constructing meaning together. In the flipped classroom, we tend to say that we're putting learning first. So it's not about grades. It's not about points. It's not about that at all. Instead, it's about the learning. We're here to learn together in this learning community. We're going to struggle and we're going to try and we're going to have grit and keep trying and try to get through it. But ultimately, our goal is to learn. And for some people, that'll be learning skills, and some people learning content, and many a combination of both. And when we talk about flipped class, a lot of times we talk about two important things. One is that it's not about the technology, although the technology is quite helpful. And it's not always about the content or the skills. It's about the ability to build relationships with our students and between the students as well. The flipped class gives us the opportunity to do that in the group time, in the together time, in the face-to-face time that we might not otherwise have. The flipped classroom, defined, includes a move toward more student voice and more student choice. The idea that we want students to be in control more of their learning, so it is more authentic, so they do have more critical thinking going on. And this goes hand in hand with our next concept toward more student responsibility for their own learning. We want students to not only start where we start them, but go beyond that. What else could they learn? What else are they interested in? What do they wonder about? What do they need to know? What do they want to know? And how can they go find it out? So flipped class at its best can become the situation where students are going and figuring out what they don't know and going and learning it. And finally, we do include a reference to educational technology. Because the educational technology of our time and the future can help people learn, can help people connect, can help people grow, we want to use it to its best potential for learning.